and got Jimmy Butler. The reason why they got Jimmy Butler was because of Kyle Anderson and Andrew Wiggins and Dennis Schroeder. 22.5 is a lot better than $8 million, which would have been that qualifying offer.
Yeah, that's really important. In the modern NBA, that just north of $20 million contract. It is a lot easier to move that sort of contract than if he had been looking at some other deal. So Jonathan Kuminga has agreed to this deal with the Golden State Warriors. We will see how he settles into training camp because the Golden State Warriors, they have goals here. I was just up there. They still believe that they can be in that conversation in a very crowded West. Well, we are 19 days away from the NBA season and 2 days into training camp. The Golden State Warriors camp, it was a little bit fuller today. Look who was introduced. They officially welcomed Al Horford, their new center, to the team yesterday. He spoke for the first time about how excited he is to be on the same side of the court as Steph Curry.
I'm excited just to, to be able to be on the floor with him and not have to chase him around and try to contest him and all that. So the fact that we're on the same side, it's something that it's special for me, and I'm really going to try to take advantage and learn from him as much as I can. He sees the game in a very incredible way, and I'm just going to follow suit and really lean on him and lean on Draymond to kind of show me the way.
Can you blame Al? No one wants to have to chase around Steph Curry as a defender. Right now, welcoming in our Warriors reporter Anthony Slater, live at Chase Center with that gorgeous Bay Area view in the background. Slater, training camp, it was a little bit busier today. How are guys like Horford and Kuminga, he's back, right, acclimating to this team?
Yeah, Al Horford, like you said, did his intro presser about 20 feet to my right yesterday. He said he did not contemplate retirement this summer. He actually signed a 2-year deal. I think the big thing is he's already acclimating. He was in the San Diego for the camp with Jimmy Butler. They called it a seamless fit. It's very obvious to see how he fits in this Steve Kerr system. There's no concerns there. One of the interesting things about Al Horford and what Steve Kerr's talked about how he fits into every lineup, I think it's fair to say, Jonathan Kuminga's negotiations this summer were contentious, but one of the things that both sides agreed upon was signing Al Horford would hard cap them, to this mid-level, but even Kuminga side thought it was such a great signing because Al Horford, as a stretch center, as a 5 that can shoot the ball, is going to help every lineup, really including the lineups that have Jonathan Kuminga in it, because one of the issues for Kuminga has been a lack of space at times. And I think, this coaching staff, I know actually, is very interested to see lineups that have Horford and Kuminga in them.
Interesting. So that's something that we will certainly be keeping an eye on. There's been so much conversation about Kuminga, his role with this team, but we know, at least for now, to start the season, he is there, and they are determined to try to make the most of it because this is a group that has their eyes on a championship to maximize the end of Steph Curry. I feel like I say that all the time, maximize the end of Steph Curry. Anthony Slater, thank you so very much. The Warriors are, though, as Anthony mentioned, if Al Horford is in the starting lineup, some might call it seasoned, some might say old. On this show, we like to highlight the approach, right? With Al Horford in the fold, Golden State could start 5 players over 35 on opening night. They would be the second team to have 5 players that old at the beginning of the year since the Mavericks in 2011-2012. So Bobby, Horford, Buddy, Curry, Jimmy, Draymond, the oldest starting lineup since those Mavericks. Given that, how confident are you that this Warriors team, now that we know what their roster looks like, they can fulfill their goal here of making it all the way to an NBA championship?
Oh, well, first put me in the category of seasoned. It's not old. I am in the camp of being seasoned here. I think, Malika, look, when you have Stephen Curry on the court, anytime you have a chance, I think we have to look at what the body of work in the second half of the season was last year when they made that Jimmy Butler trade, how good this team was. We don't know where they would have gone in the playoffs if Curry had stayed healthy. Could they have beaten Minnesota? And when you look at the off-season additions, you basically you add Al Horford, you lose Kevon Looney, you bring in Seth Curry, and you also bring back D'Anthony Melton and Jonathan Kuminga. So your bench, of course, gets better. So they've got a chance. Are they in Oklahoma City territory? No, but they're in the mix with the rest of the teams in the Western Conference.
Whenever you have Steph Curry on your roster, you are always in the mix. And now it's just about putting that 23-8 that we saw down the stretch of the season since they traded for Jimmy Butler, putting that record out, extrapolating it over the course of the season. The biggest thing for them is going to be, can they stay healthy? It's so important for a seasoned squad.
Obviously a high IQ, experience, championship caliber player that can can really fit with any lineup out there. He gives us space. He gives us presence on the defensive end. You saw the pass he made to me out the corner on a give and go. So it's just kind of unspoken chemistry that will continue to get better. But he is kind of multi-dimensional as a five-man, and excited to see what that looks like, for me, for Jimmy, J.K., Draymond. And again, any lineup, you can throw him out there at the five, and he kind of lifts the group.
Steph, can you talk about what you saw from J.K. tonight, and kind of what has his mentality been and the team's mentality toward him been since all the dust has settled?
Like we said at media day, I mean, that stuff is part of the business. And when he showed up Thursday, it was business as usual. Just come in, play, give effort, continue to try to get better. I'm not gonna overanalyze every minute he's out there. It's not good for anybody. It's just, can we win? Can he be a part of that, no matter how it looks? So excited for him to get his legs underneath him and keep building. There's not much to take away from a preseason game with guys. We didn't do any personnel scouts or anything. It was just, can you get your wind underneath you, get up and down, timing, just get used to the sights and the sounds of a full arena again. I thought we played pretty well after the first 4 or 5 possessions, but it's just good to get back out there and compete against another team, feel the physicality and the speed of the game. See some shots go down. We buckled down and got a couple stops, but we'll watch some film on just patterns and stuff that you do during preseason to keep getting better.
Steph, can you tell right away in the first preseason game that the offseason conditioning, everything you do to get ready, has worked, that you feel like your body's in the right spot? And related question, the other day you said you do more off-court work now than on-court work. Any example of something you do to prepare for the season off the court that you didn't do 5 years ago?
Yeah, I feel great. Knowing you weren't going to play a lot of minutes, the feeling of I wish I could have played more instead of looking at the clock, counting down the minutes until you get off the floor. I'd rather be in that first bucket, and that's kind of how it felt tonight. Like, could have played 20, 25. I felt, physically strong and able to do what I want to do. So that's good. No, we got, 2.5 weeks to get ready for open tonight. But other than that, off season is just like you do. I take less time off in the summer, and then it's about doing a little bit more often, if that makes sense. So instead of having 3 or 4 day huge chunks and you're taking a break, it's kind of demanding something of your body pretty much every day. Whether that's a stretch, whether that's a lift, whether that's some conditioning, obviously on-court work. You try to do something every day to kind of keep your body moving. Because as you get older, if you do give yourself big gaps, it's hard to catch up.